Alright my friends, welcome back to FrogBoyX1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to talk to you guys about DLSS versus FSR. So if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. Now I've spent the last 30 days, or a little more than 30 days now, with the 4080 Super hooked up to, well, in my PC, running this now for the last few days on my OLED, on my LG C2 OLED. And I wanted to talk about this, okay, because we get gaslit a lot in the PC space. And buying graphics cards, guys, if you haven't noticed, this is not getting any cheaper. Like, they're getting more expensive. And in order for these companies, Nvidia and AMD and Intel, to try to pile on the magic to try to make us feel like we're getting more bang for our buck, when in actuality we're basically getting, you know, that hybrid console slash PC experience that I think a lot of people are starting to you know, I mean, like, a lot of people are starting to be like, oh yeah, and they're being really accepting of it. They're falling in line. Yeah, man, DLSS is better than, I hear this a lot. DLSS is better than native resolution. Well, my friends, I am one of those people that I look at things and I take things pretty damn literal. I mean, if you haven't noticed, like, if you've been watching my content for a while, you know that, like, I take things literally, and when it doesn't pan out, I tend to push back, and I push against the grain pretty hard. And I think is what's going on, my friends, and this is my honest opinion. I mean, let me know in the comments section if you definitely feel different than this, but I really do believe that Nvidia has the magnetic pull, the market share that Nvidia has, and that Nvidia's built a product of premium quality, best features, all of that. Like, I think that right there, because and also on top of that, the peer pressure that most people, you know, seem to get when it comes to the PC space, like, the peer pressure toward pushing people to Nvidia is so strong. And when you listen to the other tech tubers and how they consistently talk about, like, DLSS and you know, like ray tracing and path tracing and, you know, frame generation and all of these other things, it just gets to the point where you just get beat over the head so much with it that you start believing it. And here's what I think happens. I think that most people, you know, including myself, we fall into that, and we're like, yeah, Nvidia's the best, AMD's just trash, we're just gonna go get an Nvidia card, and then we buy whatever we can afford. When, if you want the best Nvidia experience, like, you need to buy higher end stuff to really get to take advantage of that. Because I'll tell you guys what, I've been playing around with Nvidia since I started PC gaming over a couple of years now. I started with Nvidia 11 months ago. I switched over to AMD and I started using AMD religiously. And I've come to see things through my own eyes. Like, I see things for what they really are. And no amount of peer pressure or other YouTubers or people in the community talking down to me is gonna change my mind, because I believe what I see. And I mean, everything that I put, like, if I have the AMD card in here, it's on the same screens, it's run from the same CPU, it's in the exact same build. And if I'm getting a different experience from the AMD side versus the Nvidia side, then that's relevant. That is 100% relevant. So let me break this down for you guys. I didn't call you here for just a clickbait video, but I really want to talk about the differences between FSR and DLSS. Now, I was sitting here before this video kind of prepping for this, because I've been thinking about this for a while. And I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the 4080 Super, and I'm switching back between the two. I'm switching between DLSS and I'm switching between FSR, because you can utilize FSR on any GPU. Like, you can just use it, you can use their frame generation, all of that stuff. You can use it on other GPUs. So here's the thing. when I'm in DLSS on quality, and I'm looking at this on the quality mode. We're on a 4K screen, 4K OLED. We're looking at quality. We're not playing around with any of the other settings, and I'm flipping between them. And the image quality looks literally identical. Absolutely identical. Except for on the FSR side, in the back, you can see a little bit of shimmering and flickering and stuff like that. Like, you can see that, obviously. So, I mean, if you were looking at the differences between FSR and DLSS and you're on an Nvidia card and you're looking at that, you're like, yeah, oh, yeah, Nvidia DLSS gets the win because there's no shimmering right off the bat. But for an eagle-eyed person like myself, let me tell you what I see. When I have my AMD GPUs in my system and I'm using FSR quality, the image quality looks significantly more dense. And when I say dense, I mean there's more pixels. And they look like they have an overall better texture and fill rate than what I'm seeing on the Nvidia GPUs. It's weird. Like, I know, I'm just saying, you know, sit with me for a minute. Like when you look at it, like when you look at an object, and this is like really noticeable. Like if you're playing one of CD Projekt Red's games, because you can look at like the planters, and they just look like they don't have or anything. You know, like look at the sidewalk tiles or just anything, and it just looks, you know, like old school, like PlayStation 1 textures, but just a little bit more glossy and shiny, and, you know, maybe a little bit more detail, but they all kind of just have that, like, that older texture look. I mean, so not like PS1. Like if you're looking at PS1, then obviously you can see like the, you know, like the big square pixels in there and like the different, I mean, obviously there's a lot more pixels and it looks, you know, significantly better than PlayStation 1. I'm not saying, but you get that, like, that old school like texture, like you know, like you'd be looking at a wall and say the wall has like a window on it, you know, like a window frame and all of that stuff, but it's one flat texture. It's just one flat texture. I mean, it's art. Like obviously it shows the windows and the glass and, you know, maybe like some window blinds in the back, you know, through the glass or something, but it's all one flat texture. And that's the way that things look to me, like with DLSS on. I mean, everything, like, I mean, like, it'll have, like, the individual pieces and stuff, like, if you're looking at, like somebody wearing, like, armor or something, like, it'll have all the individual pieces of armor, but all of the texture work inside that, to me, just looks like it's one giant texture, whereas on the AMD side of things, I can see fine detail. And I know this is true. I know this is absolutely true, is because when I put the AMD card in there and I look at the same game, like I find myself blown away. Like when I'm playing and this is, man, when I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the Nvidia GPUs, I'm looking at the game and I'm like, gosh, man, these visuals are starting to look so dated. They just don't look good. You know, I'm just like, oh man, like, yeah, I remember this game looking better. And then I'll have the Nvidia or the AMD GPU in there and I'm like, damn, dude, this game looks good. And I don't feel that same way that I feel when I have the Nvidia GPU in there. Now you guys can call me crazy, you can push back at me, whatever. I mean, these are my own perceptions and the way I feel, and you know, these are my opinions. So you don't necessarily have to take it to the bank and like, yeah, man, what Frog says is true. No, guys, these are just my opinions, and I mean, obviously there might be some setting in the Nvidia software, something that might bring out more texture work, but I keep hearing like, oh man, Nvidia compresses their textures, they don't need as much VRAM, blah blah blah, like all of these other features that Nvidia has, which are, in my opinion, kind of sounds like people are not necessarily damage controlling, but like they're damage controlling, being like, oh yeah, it doesn't need that. You don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter. DLSS is the best because there's no flickering, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I really do think that most people go out, buy an Nvidia GPU and just flick on DLSS. So when they're like, yeah, man, DLSS is better than native resolution looks good. Like it has that pixel density that FSR has on an AMD GPU, and you can kind of see it. And see, here's the thing, guys, like It kind of does, but it doesn't look the same on the Nvidia GPUs. Like, it doesn't matter if you're using DLSS or not. You know what I mean? Like, the image quality, it pretty much looks the same. And so I understand why people are like, yeah, man, DLSS looks exactly like it's like native 4K, because it really does look that way. It's almost like there's you know, like if you go and you like get something, it's kind of like that. I don't know. It just looks hollow. It looks kind of empty. Like, it looks good. Like, it's flashy and shiny on the side and the front and side. You get the ray tracing. You get all the fixins and, you know, all the other stuff. And you're like, yeah, man, this looks good. But to me, like, it always just kind of seems a little bit hollow, man. Like, I don't know why I feel that way. I don't know why I feel that way. I have the second highest Nvidia GPU you can get, and I still feel that way. I still feel that way. Do I think it's bad? Do I think it looks terrible? Absolutely not. Like, it looks good. Like, I'm still playing it, and I'm playing the games, and I'm fully immersed in them. I mean, I literally just beat Horizon Forbidden West on the 4080 just last weekend, and I'm like, gosh dang, this game looks good. But there are some games that you do notice it. Like, you absolutely notice it, and it's like, oh boy, man, that kind of looks a little bit off. And I noticed this, you know, when I'm playing like Horizon Forbidden West on the Nvidia side versus playing it on the AMD side. Like, I can see like it just looks a little bit. To me, everything in the distance just looks a little bit fuller on the AMD cards, man. Maybe that's why they use more VRAM. Like, I really wish that somebody smarter than me could really get to the bottom of this and not just be like, oh yeah, thank you Nvidia for the free GPUs, man. Heck yeah, DLSS. And because I get so sick of that shit, and I get so sick and tired of being gaslit, man. Because I mean, the 7900 XT shouldn't even technically come close to a 4080 Super. It shouldn't. Like, there's no explanation for this, and I'm tired of being gaslit, man. I am so sick and freaking tired of people telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I don't know what I see, man. I'm basically, I mean, like, basically, you know, I do listen to a lot of stuff. I try to stay away from all the little, you know, all the little tech YouTuber channels and stuff like that. I really do try to, you know, find good information the best way I can. I do listen to like a few of them and stuff just to kind of see what they're talking about. But I really do want to see some real scientific, honest, non-biased freaking work put into this segment. And I do have a camera now. I'm actually going to be getting like a significantly more expensive camera that'll be able to like film the screen and still look good. And I'm going to try to prove this stuff to you guys. Like, I'm going to try to show you guys the best way I can what I'm talking about. And, you know, hopefully it's one of those things, because I've been reading up on a few things of like Nvidia getting caught like doing things to boost like numbers and stuff. And man, like, all of the stack, like everything on the Nvidia side right now, guys, is basically down to AI and magic. And I'm not saying that AMD is perfect. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I could care less for either one of these damn companies. I just want to play my games and enjoy them. And seeing as I'm a content creator, I really do feel it would be really easy for me to just fall in line and spout the same stuff that everybody else spouts. It would. Like, it would. And I would probably be able to do it with a straight face and be very convincing and just tell people what they want to hear. Grow my channel, get freaking, you know, lots of whales and everybody that want to like fund me and all kinds of stuff. Like, I could easily do that. But why, man? There's already so many of those. And I know I've got a pretty decent personality for the most part. I've never had problems making friends. Like, seriously, guys. And so when I'm like, what's most important to me in this PC space, guys, is look, if you guys want to be delusional, not delusional, but if you guys want to just be like, ooh, just like living in the clouds, and that's cool, man, 100%. All the power to you. I have no problem with that. If you want to, yeah, I'll come and park your car in just a second. If you want to really fully utilize or understand and like kind of maybe see things, it's one of those things, guys, where I get it. If you just want to close your eyes and be a sheep and do what you're told and just yeah DLSS and all of that, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I don't see the claims that everybody else is making, and I mean, it's so much easier. Like if you're like, oh gosh, my favorite YouTuber said yes, get the DLSS and the ray tracing because it's better, and then you buy that and you never ever get a chance to see the other side. You never know what you're gonna miss. And ignorance is bliss, my friends. Absolutely, ignorance is freaking bliss. So when you look at that and you take that into consideration, like I think that I really do, and I've said this a lot, I think a lot of people would be significantly more happy with more VRAM and like better rasterization power and great looking image quality with an incredible freaking, you know, AMD Adrenalin software. I just think there's so many things that you would probably be more happy with AMD, that the stuff with Nvidia that you probably won't use that much, because like, yeah, dude, I don't know. So all right guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I gotta go park mama's car real quick. They're tearing up the road outside. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.